Follow with the pledge, please.
Mike, we can't hear Paul.
Yeah. Heavenly Father, thank you. We appreciate all that you do for us. We appreciate the opportunities that you lay before our hands. We only hope that we can rise to the occasion, be worthy of the sacrifice of your Son, Jesus. We ask for your blessing over this meeting, blessing over the city, county, and state and country. We know that your work will be done in your time, and we are just so appreciative, and we thank you for everything that you've done for us in your Holy Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Quick refreshment break. Hey, this is the special meeting.
That's right.
Special night for them.
I'm good.
We haven't taken off yet. We haven't taken off yet. We're first class.
At this time, I guess we'll approve the agenda. I have a motion on the floor to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Clark, second by Commissioner Martin. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Now is the time for public comments. If anybody or lady in the room want to give us some public comments. Dallas, you want to put our thing on the screen for public comments for anybody that's joining? Give them a little bit of time since it's 30 seconds behind to give public comments. You gotta have the hand down, Pat. One of y'all got to sing the 30 seconds. Do we have anybody with their hands raised? All right. So our one and only item for tonight is a quasi-judicial hearing for the construction plans of phase 1 of the Avalon Woods subdivision. Attorney Scott, would you like to walk us through this?
Happy to do it. Mayor Pro Tem Norfleet, I'll read this by title only. And then we'll ask if any of the commissioners may have any ex parte communication. And after that, the staff will have a presentation, and then we can go through the applicants' presentations and any of the citizens that wish to have questions along the way. If anyone wishes to testify, at some stage, we're going to ask you to raise your hand, and then I will either have you sworn in, or our clerk, Judy Rice, will swear you in. And so that will be the procedure that we have this evening, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. And now I'll read Resolution 2020-52. This is SD 20-05, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Newberry, Florida, approving with appropriate conditions and safeguards construction plans for Avalon Woods Phase 1A as authorized under Section 5.17 of the City of Newberry Land Development Regulations for the construction of infrastructure and site improvements in a mixed-use MU zoning district on certain lands within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida, repealing all resolutions in conflict and providing an effective date. The appropriate motion at the appropriate time will be to pass resolution number 2020-52 as read by title only. And now if we can hear from the commissioners as to any ex parte communications they may have. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Say none.
None.
Commissioner Martin?
Only to the extent that Mr. McDaniel had contacted me about what he was doing, but I have no financial gain in the matter, and it was for informational purposes only.
Commissioner Farnsworth?
None.
Commissioner Coleman?
None.
I have none as well. Mr. Attorney?
I think we'll turn it over at this time to Brian. If you want to make a presentation, Brian, on this matter, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Let me get my shared screen up here. Okay, thank you. This is for Resolution 2020-52, which is stated in the reading by the city attorney, is approval of construction plans for Avalon Woods Phase 1A. This is part of the Lexington Station mixed-use development that was approved back in 2005. It is, in general terms, the land that surrounds the Easton Newberry Sports Complex up on the north side of town. The the Lexington Station mixed use had original approval for 214 single-family units, and I believe about 220 multifamily units. It's intended to be a multiple planned phase subdivision. There will be, out of the entirety of the mixed use, there's about a little over 20 acres reserved for future commercial development. I give you the general location. Like as I said, it's the Lexington Station mixed use was the total area around the Easton Newberry Sports Complex. Tonight, though, we're really only looking at one small segment of that, which is Avalon Woods Phase 1A. The applicant is with us, Mr. Dave McDaniels from M3 Development, but he does not have a presentation for the commission for the construction plans, and so if it pleases the commission, we'll go ahead and move on into the remainder of the staff report for construction plan approval.
Brian?
Yes, sir.
We failed to swear you in and Dave in.
Yes, sir.
We need to
Good point.
take a step back and do that. Anybody who wants to be sweared in, going to speak on this matter, we'll get you to raise your hand, and Clerk Judy, swear us in.
Just let me know when you're ready.
You ready?
You're ready now?
Yep.
Okay, please raise your right hand, and whenever I finish with the swearing in, repeat your name for the record. I do hereby swear or affirm the testimony I am about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do, Brian Thomas.
I do, David McDaniel.
I do, Jamie Jones.
I do, Chris Potts.
And Brian, just to follow
You
up.
have been duly sworn.
Thank you, Judy. And Brian, just to follow up on that, all of the testimony you just previously provided is true and correct to the best of your knowledge and ability. Is that also correct?
Yes, Mr. City Attorney, that is correct.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, Brian, if you want to continue on.
Okay, thank you, sir. And so, as stated, what we're looking at tonight is the construction plan approval for the Avalon Woods Phase 1A. It's outlined in red here. The number of, well, ultimately, the entire area that you see would be single family development, but again, right now we're looking at the 104 units that are in Phase 1A. That's just a look at the preliminary plat for those units. It also includes stormwater basins down at actually this is the western side, western end of the property. And so specific to Avalon Woods Phase 1A, it's 104 single family units. It is the first of multiple phases in the subdivision. The construction plan approval allows the developer to proceed with the horizontal infrastructure, the roads, water, wastewater, stormwater facilities, prior to the actual final plat approval. And the developer has indicated that he would like to seek final plat approval later, either after the infrastructure has been completed and accepted by the city, or at some further step where they'll present a surety for the remainder of the unfinished infrastructure. The construction plans for this phase, which I haven't put a slide up for each page of that. That would be pretty tedious, but they're in your packet as part of the record. Those plans were reviewed by the city's development application review team, plus an outside engineering firm, EDA. Those comments from the DART and EDA were submitted to the applicant's agent, J. Brown Professional Group. They were amended to incorporate the review comments and resubmitted for final review and approval by staff. There is the developers indicated that he has a significant time constraint, and so normally we would have every T crossed and I dotted, but we did, to try to facilitate the developer in this case, we did place a number of conditions which are in the attachments to the resolution that will have to be addressed in the near future. They weren't able to get completely prepared prior to the submittal for tonight's hearing, just because of the lack of time. But they will be addressed prior to being approved, getting final approval from the city as approved for construction. And so with that, staff's recommendation is to approve resolution 2020-52, the construction plans with the additional conditions outlined in the attachments to the resolution for Avalon Woods Phase 1A. And Mr. Mayor, that concludes the presentation.
Thank you, Brian. Would any of the applicants like to present?
Hi, I'm David McDaniel. Commissioners and Mayor, thank you so much for this meeting. We are, as most of you have been able to see in the other development, Oak Park sales are going at a considerably faster rate than we had expected, and accommodating us will accommodate the builders and the future residents of Newberry. And so we're very grateful for it. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions that you may have, but that's really all I had to say. So thank you very much.
All right, do we have any third party that wants to comment?
Yes, Commissioner Norfleet, this is Chris Potts with J. Brown Professional Group. As Dave mentioned, we greatly appreciate you guys taking the time and city staff to set a special meeting for us for this project. And as Brian mentioned, any outstanding comments and items that we need to address with staff, we will do so appropriately before the project goes to construction. And we just want to say thank you for taking time out of your day for this special meeting.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pott. Do we have any public comments on this? Hearing none, Brian, do you want to cross-examine yourself?
No, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
do we need a motion to get this approved? Can I get a motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we're at that time, the stage of the proceeding.
Motion to approve as read.
I'll second that. I will have questions.
Scott, were
too.
you saying something?
Oh, yes, I was just remarking this is the time to make the motion, so that's fine. Everything's working along just fine.
Do we have any questions about the motion on the floor?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I have a question.
Commissioner Martin?
Brian, it's my page 67, but that plan looks like it addresses the ingress and egress off the roadway, but I can't quite tell what all we have going on there. Can you paint a better picture for me of the scope of getting in and out of the property once it's actually developed? That's already been
Yes.
addressed through DOT and whatnot?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The project will require a new point of ingress and egress onto State Road 45, which will be approved by FDOT. It will include, as I understand, turn lanes both into the neighborhood from both lanes of traffic, but it will be a new entry point that's north of the existing driveway to the Easton Newberry Sports Complex.
So is there a right turn lane and a left turn lane, north and south? And then
Yes, Mr. Mayor, that is the plan, is that there will be turn lanes on both sides, both
Okay.
lanes of travel.
okay, but there's not any kind of a median or anything, right?
No, sir, the center lane will be the left turn lane
Okay.
into the neighborhood from the north.
Any other questions from the dais?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, that shows on sheets 72 of the construction drawings, the FDOT construction plans on page 72 and 73. Just FYI for the commission's edification.
Any more questions?
I have a question.
Commissioner Farnsworth?
I was curious as to the sidewalks. Are they on one side of the street or on both sides of the street? And is this going to be a homeowners association? And is there any parking allowed on the streets?
Mr. Mayor, there will be sidewalks on through the neighborhood. Parking on the street would be allowed in an appropriate area if there's room for it. And then it will be a homeowner association neighborhood that will enforce the additional covenants and restrictions of the neighborhood, of the subdivision.
Okay, when you say there'll be parking allowed on the street, what about the access for fire and rescue police?
Mr. Mayor, the road widths will meet the city's requirements, the city standards for road development. If the streets are not wide enough, then, or there isn't adequate space between between driveways to have safe parking, then there wouldn't be parking allowed on that particular street. There may be wider boulevards that would accommodate some on-street parking if it doesn't work on the narrower internal roadways.
Are there going to be actual parking spots on the streets? Is that what you're saying?
Mr. Mayor,
Are they just going to randomly park on the street?
Currently, our codes do not require striped parking or delineated parking spaces in the subdivisions. So there won't be like painted striped areas, to my knowledge, unless the developer chooses to put those in.
And I didn't see any kind of green space. Is there, what's going on as far as playgrounds or swimming pools or anything of that nature?
Mr. Ware, this particular piece of the overall development does not have those facilities, but they're incorporated into the overall development for the mixed use. And so on subsequent phases, you will have open space, recreation areas that you don't see right now. Our code does allow for the stormwater basins to be used as passive recreation areas. And so even though it's labeled as a stormwater basin, it also can serve as a passive open space and recreation area. But there are other recreation areas delineated in the totality of the development at future phases.
And does the developer have any idea when the entire subdivision will be completed, including the commercial?
Leave that to Mr. McDaniels.
Well, I can't speak to every element of the development. From the standpoint of the housing, given the number of units, it's probably 7 years before you'll see the last of the housing being developed out. And excuse me, let me restate that. As it relates to phase 1A, it'll be about a year and a half is what we would expect. Phase 1B is another only 40 or 50 lots. That could be another 6 to 9 months. So if we end up developing out the land on the south, which we currently have under contract, which is what Brian Thomas was referring to in terms of future open space and recreation facilities, if we develop the whole thing out, that could be what I was saying, 6 or 7 years. But in terms of this particular phase, about 18 months is what we would expect, maybe 2 years.
What about the commercial the property?
Well, we will market it aggressively. I am not a commercial developer, so we're going to market it aggressively to various users, and we'll have a professional broker managing it and sales. So the answer is that's one which we're going to find out as we go. So I really don't know the answer to when that'll take place.
Okay, so we're in more need of a commercial property than we are housing. So I don't know why we don't have a time frame on the commercial property.
Well, I was a real estate market analyst for 5 years of my career. I did market studies for many major companies and large agricultural companies in Florida. And commercial follows housing. You don't get commercial development until the housing comes. So I would say is the commercial, with all the housing that we'll be doing, I'm sure it will draw attention to potential commercial demand. And we will certainly respond to that demand as aggressively as we can. But to build commercial before people are there to shop would be, not a great business decision. So that's generally how it works.
Okay. Thank you.
I have one question. Brian or whoever wants to take it. On the west side of the entrance, there's an apron. What is that apron for?
Mr. Ware, are you talking about the on the western side of the State Road 45.
Correct.
That's actually for a development also by M3 that you'll be hearing in January. It'll come up before the Board of Adjustment for approval in January, the proposed recreational vehicle resort.
Are we a little premature by having that on there for this?
Mr. Mayor, in general, rather than have to have two mobilizations for the road work, and the road work, if approved tonight, those improvements would not begin until long after the resort, RV resort approval process had been completed. And so approving those tonight, if the RV park were not to be ultimately developed in the future, then there would be no need for that on the other side. But as it is, the plans would be to, in order to save a substantial amount of money for mobilization, to do both at the same time, assuming that both projects had approval by the commission.
Brian, if I may, this is Chris Potts with J. Brown Professional Group. It's also part of the DOT permit. DOT is requesting that we lock down access along State Road 45. And so as part of the permit with DOT, they're requesting that we construct that apron as well.
Commissioner Morgan?
Well, with regards to potential additional need on the west side of 45 for the RV park, have we put that into the calculus as far as the runways on these turn lanes? Are they going to be able to accommodate multiple potential RVs that are coming in and out of the road? Are we under agreement there's enough there for all that?
Yes, we've had a traffic study prepared with that included the recreational village development as well as the residential development on the east. And DOT has reviewed it and has concurred that we have ample storage space in the turn lanes for the recreational vehicles.
Okay.
Any other questions from the doc? Hearing none, does any of the Brian or any of the applicant like to have any
Mr.
more?
Mayor, I do have a question.
Commissioner Farnsworth?
Sorry. I was wondering, what about the impact on the schools? Is there any study or anything been done regarding that? I mean, with our schools at pretty much capacity, I was wondering what impact it would have.
Mr. Mayor, I can address that. I did the school concurrency analysis for phase 1A. Because of the limited number of houses, it'll have a minor effect on the overall concurrency picture. The school board has their capacity tables that they make available, and then they have a capacity worksheet that we fill out. And so for the elementary school, according to the school board's calculations, there's an available additional capacity of 119 seats. You can just call it desks in the concurrency area. And the impact from this neighborhood is estimated to only be about 14 and a half new seat requirements. The high school also has available capacity of 85 seats. The impact on that would be, again, about 8.5 seats. And then the Oakview Middle School does have a negative available capacity, but by the way that the school board calculates available capacity, there's an excess of several hundred because the adjacency, the concurrency service areas adjacent to the middle school have additional capacity. And so the way that they do their zoning and all based on existing conditions could absorb the additional 6.2 seats that would be generated by the development. And so that's kind of the long answer. The short answer is yes, according to the school board's established methodology for determining concurrency and capacity availability, we meet this development meets that, and there is additional capacity available.
So out of 100 homes, there's only going to be 20 students, or actually more than 20 if you consider the middle school.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, about 28 or so students to overall, 28, 29 is in each category, elementary, middle, and high school. The school board has a multiplier that for the number of units being constructed, they use their multiplier, and the multiplier is developed from analyzing the current school usage patterns over time, across the entire county. And those are the numbers that they've come up with based on their methodology. You'd have about 14.5 elementary, 6.2 middle, and 8.6 high school.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the dais? All right, Brian, do you or any of the applicants want to make a final argument?
No, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay, City Attorney, you want to walk us through the next?
Yes, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, this is a decision for you to make, each of your commissioners, based upon the substantial and competent evidence that's come from the podium itself this evening. And Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I believe there is a motion on the floor, and I do believe it's been seconded as well. So you can call the question at this point if there's no further discussion, testimony, or deliberations that the commission wishes to engage in.
Any other questions on the floor? All right. Go to do we have any public comments? Or we'll give 30 seconds since we're behind and see what anybody has any comments. And I think Commissioner Martin just want to sing us a song during this time.
Yep.
Here are no public comments. We'll go to a roll call vote. Commissioner Coleman. I think that's an aye from him.
Aye.
Commissioner Farnsworth.
Nay.
Nay. Commissioner Clark.
Aye.
Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
And I'll go with an aye as well. It looks like this has approved. And we'll go into, that ends our quasi-judicial hearing. So we'll go to comments. So do we have any manager comments?
Yeah, if I can figure out how to unmute. Oh, I am unmuted. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple brief comments. As I indicated at our last meeting, City Hall will be open. City Hall and all the public buildings will be open to the general public tomorrow and Wednesday of this week. Will be closed Thursday for the Christmas holiday. Next week, it'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're open 10 hours, our regular 10-hour shift. And then we will be closed on Thursday for the New Year's holiday. So those are our holiday operations. I wish everyone on the board and in the community a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and look forward to kicking off 2021 with everyone. Bigger and better things for Newberry. That concludes my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Attorney?
Yes, sir. I have the same comments. Merry Christmas to everybody, and I look forward to 2021. I hope you all have very happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Madam Clerk?
Just want to wish everybody Merry Christmas and a safe and happy holiday season.
Commissioner Clark?
Oh, caveat, it's the same thing. Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy New Year. And we look forward to working with you and getting a new year started.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody in the upcoming year. Happy New Year's. Just a little sidebar with regards to the concurrency issue, and I am sensitive to Commissioner Farnsworth's vote on this. Concurrency has been a big issue of mine for many of the reasons of us growing beyond the capacities of the schools. And I think the issue is really with the school board and the formula that they use. Unfortunately, it's not anything that we can significantly impact on the city level, but it may be worth a discussion from the dais to formulate a message to the school board as a body of what we feel like is some potential solutions for our situation and what we can offer to the school board in that manner, because the concurrency capacity allows for the students in these adjacent zones. Unfortunately, they changed the formula so every school is in every zone, and I guess the interest level of the school board to allow kids to go to other schools doesn't necessarily mirror the capacity formulas. But we can have a little bit deeper dive into that because it's obviously kind of an elephant in the room for some of these decisions. And like this project that's been on the board for 15 years before we had some of these problems, so the concurrency at that time wasn't necessarily an issue. But if it pleases the board, and maybe we can talk about it the first of the year, whether or not we want to bring that back for a formal agenda item or something. Thank you.
Commissioner Coleman?
I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a good New Year. And I hope JB Pro Group down there will push somebody in to use local subs around here instead of shipping them in from all over the freaking state of Florida. I know y'all probably don't have no influence, but the other guy already got off. But there is a lot of good subs around here. So besides that, y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Commissioner Farnsworth?
Just wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and look forward to next year.
I think we're all tired of 2020 for this year with the COVID, but I wish everybody a Happy New Year's and a Merry Christmas. And now we'll lead into citizen comments. We'll give anybody 5 minutes to present anything they want. We have one citizen in here that she's going to do 5 minutes.
No, she's not.
Dallas, do we have anybody with their hands raised?